Welcome to Arc Photo Pod, the architectural photography podcast. My name is Jordan Powers, and I'm an architectural photographer based in the Southeast United States. In this episode, I speak with Matthew Anderson. Matthew is a Kansas City-based architectural photographer, AP Almanac contributor, and also runs a successful YouTube channel focused on the business of architectural photography. So Matthew was recently in Brooklyn attending the workshop that Brian Berkowitz and I put on. But we got together a couple nights before and hung out for a few hours and sat down in his hotel room and had this conversation. Now, fair warning for all of you, this is a very giggly conversation, and it's not the normal serious Arc Photo Pod podcast. We do talk about business stuff, but we're just really having a lot of fun on this, and it's probably the loosest you'll ever see me. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about Matthew. I think he really has the ability to bring out the lightheartedness in any conversation he's in, and that's been my experience interacting with him. So I certainly appreciated sitting down and getting to know him a little bit better and talking with him in person. So if you want to follow Matthew on Instagram, you can do so at Matthew A Photo, and if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can do so at Jordan Powers without the vowels. Enjoy this conversation with Matthew Anderson.
So what kind of shirts are these? Is this your logo?
No, it's Into the AM shirts.
I don't know.
So some people, it's just a brand. I think it's an Amazon brand.
Oh, really?
So I think that's what the AM part is. Yeah, for my videos and for work, this is it.
Yeah. Hey, I just had an idea. Can I sit on one of these pillows?
Go for it.
Whichever one you're. That way, I won't be so low.
No, I would love to keep your essence here while I'm sleeping. So sit on all your.
This one.
This is the one Jordan used.
Not only did I use, I actually sat on it and sweated in it for like 2 hours.
Take my face off the pillow.
Yeah. So everybody listening, sorry for this.
No, this is gold.
No, this is great.
This is absolutely fantastic. Thanks for listening, everybody. So I've been Matthew Anderson.
Yeah. We're in Brooklyn. We have a workshop next week. We just met in person for the first time a couple hours ago. We went and got some Sbarro.
That was in Patsy's Pizzeria. Patty's or Patsy's?
Patsy's.
Yeah,
we went to Target first though. So we got some pizza, and now we're back at the Matt's hotel room. Let me clarify. Do you go by Matt or Matthew? Is it kind of an either or you prefer Matt?
Either or. It's literally like a 51% preference towards Matthew.
It's funny because when I refer to you, when I'm talking with other people about you, I usually say Matthew. But like
and that's how I introduce myself, like on my videos. I'm actually named after some relatives who passed away that I never met. It's my mom's two brothers, so they're uncles that they died when they were teenagers. So I clearly never met them. My mom had one brother was named Matthew, and another one was named Jeff. Oh. And so my name is Matthew.
They passed away when they were teenagers?
Yeah, they had muscular dystrophy.
Oh wow. Same. Like brothers?
Yeah, it was. It's a genetic thing. My mom having kids actually took quite a risk having the first kid being me, because there was a good chance she would pass it on.
Yeah, or that you could become a photographer.
Yeah,
either way.
Yeah. But yeah, so I came out of fairly healthy, normal kids. So they named me in honor of my uncles who I've never met, Matthew Jeffrey Anderson. So they picked that order instead of Jeffrey Matthew. They thought Matthew Jeffrey flowed better.
And are you the only? Do you have siblings?
No, I have two siblings. I've got a middle brother, and unfortunately, my youngest brother, he does have muscular dystrophy. Yeah. So but at this point now he is 26, so he is in a wheelchair. He needs help with pretty much absolutely everything.
Sure.
But
and also it's like the medicine is probably evolved.
Yeah, it's leaps and bounds ahead of where it was when my uncles passed away. Yeah. I mean, when they were confined to a wheelchair, the world was not handicapped accessible. So once they got, they were confined to a wheelchair, they were basically home. They never left. Well, now by law, there's ramps and everything everywhere. So we take my brother out to go to the movies, we go to eat and all that sort of stuff. So it's just,
does he have to live in like a full assisted living or?
No, he still lives with my mom and dad. Yeah. So I mean, it's not easy. That's for sure.
Right.
And for my mom and dad, especially my mom, because my mom's the caretaker for him. But yeah, I mean, they've got a system. It's working pretty well. but it's not easy. My mom's not a spring chicken either, so she's taking care of basically a grown man. He's a skinny grown man. He's taller than me, honestly. They've measured him. He's like an inch or two taller than me, but he's very thin. And so she's taking care of him every single day.
Now, is that something that comes from, like, does it gradually just get worse? Like, my brother had a friend.
Degenerative disease, yeah.
But it doesn't appear usually until, like, it doesn't appear when you're younger usually.
Babies don't usually come out of the womb and you go, oh, they've got muscular dystrophy. It's something that kind of starts showing its head a little bit later on in life. Usually somewhere, in the adolescence.
Yeah, okay.
Somewhere around somewhere between probably 5 to 10 is when most kids start showing signs.
My brother has a friend who, well, I don't know if he's still around, to be honest with you. It's been years, but he had a friend who would come around. I just always remember he was really good at guitar.
Yeah.
He'd always come over and like play my guitar or whatever. And he ended up getting it. And I remember I didn't see him for like 5-10 years. And then like I saw him and like he was, needing to walk with a cane at that point. And but he had to have been in his like late 20s when it was starting to get bad. So, but I haven't seen him in like probably 15 years. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so no, that's no joke, man. So 2 siblings, both your parents still around?
Yeah.
And everybody's in Kansas City?
Yeah, my family, my wife's family. Yeah, we're all we're all stuck in Kansas City.
You're not stuck there.
No, I absolutely love Kansas City. Kansas City, there's this joke that Kansas City is one of the few places where even the residents wear shirts as if they're tourists. Because we all wear KC shirts. And if you look on my Instagram too, early on, a lot of my shirts I wore were Charlie Hustle, Kansas City. Charlie Hustle is a little Kansas City brand.
Okay.
So it's just like a rite of passage. Everyone has at least one Charlie Hustle shirt. But yeah, after a while, I'm like, okay, I gotta stop wearing Charlie Hustle shirts to work. And then for a while there, for a short stint, I had shirts with my logo, and those got old and nasty. So then I just went to these.
Like the Matthew Anderson logo?
Yeah, I mean, so if you go to my website, the MA, it's kind of this, it's almost like a 80s metal band kind of logo, but you don't look at it right away and go 80s, but that's kind of where it was inspired from. But yeah, so like some of my videos, like my big copyright video, I'm wearing my MA.
Did you design that yourself, or did you have it?
I designed it myself. I typed in a font that I liked, and then literally just rearranged letters and sharpen or changed an angle on one of the letters, or I'm sure there's some technical name if you're a graphic designer, but yeah, just kind of tweaked it a little bit. It's literally just M and A in a font, and I mess with it in Photoshop.
Well, I mean, I think it looks good, honestly. Like normally
I've had a lot of compliments.
I would discourage people from getting their own logo, doing their own logos, mainly because most photographers just suck at it. you know, it's like throw an Aperture logo, throw a house.
That's I did watch.
Put your name in cursive.
Oh yeah, before I ever crossed paths.
Sorry if that's you, by the way.
Before I ever crossed paths with Mike Kelly, I know he did a video with F-Stoppers. I think it's on YouTube, about where they critique other photographers' tutorials, and there are these cliches that they're like just drove her wild. And one was an Aperture blade, and one was if you're an architect or shoot real estate, don't show a house. It's like that just goes without saying, stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, well then I'll just make a branding logo, MA. That's it. And then it was either around that time, either right before or after, I think I saw yours, and that was affirmation. I'm like, okay, cool. But just something with angles almost gives that subconscious hint that I shoot architecture, because angles and lines and stuff like it's so much a part of the design of what we shoot. So I was like, oh, it kind of works.
Yeah, it's funny. I got mine done through 99 Designs.
And that sound, by the way, that's the chair. So
this is the chair. I can confirm. We verified this before it started.
I'm just gonna hold them.
But no, I got mine done through 99 Designs, and my instruction was, I'm an architectural photographer.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too on the nose, but I do want to have some structure.
Yeah.
I think that's how I phrased it. Like I wanted some structure in the logo, and through 99 Designs, what was nice is that they do like a couple hundred.
Yeah, and you get to pick.
You get to pick, and if you don't like any of them, pay for it. You get a refund.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But yeah, I narrowed down on that one, and it was a nice play on my initials.
Yeah.
But it also had some structure to it, so I liked it. It worked out for me. But my first logo was that cliche. I had the aperture, but I also had designed it on my own during that time when the distressed look was really, where it's like it was a font, but it had like chunks taken out.
Yeah.
So it was like super edgy. I was trying to communicate that I was like kind of punk rock and edgy.
Yeah, man.
You know, so
When I did a podcast, I did that to our logo. We called it the Can City Podcast, CAN.
what was your podcast?
It was a kind of a open-ended. It was a comedic podcast, but it was me and two other guys. And at the beginning, it was just the three of us talking about topical things and the news. Obviously, the more lighthearted stuff. We never wanted to get heavy-handed with like politics or anything like that. It was always we wanted our podcast to be the reprieve of people who wanted to steer clear of that stuff, and we would comment on like the lighter stuff. But it was basically we made fun of ourselves. We were three morons talking about stuff that we just sounded so stupid, and I was the least funny one. The other guys were just way more hilarious than I was. So, and I produced it, so it was basically me kind of steering the ship and letting those guys just do their thing. And then eventually we started interviewing like local Kansas City celebrities. We got hooked up with a comedy club in Kansas City. So sometimes when the comedians would, they will visit a city, they do a round of going on like the morning shows and stuff. And if the timing worked out, they would come on our podcast because we were a comedy podcast. And we started doing stuff with, we had a small YouTube channel going, that was going pretty well. And then one of the morning shows in Kansas City, whenever they would do their lighthearted, goofy segments, they started calling us. Three nutballs doing silly, stupid stuff. And, if something was too far left field for like the serious anchors, they would call the Kansas City guys. They'll do it. And we're like, yeah, we'll do it.
Huh.
So
that's pretty cool. So,
and then just life got in the way, and that's,
So when do you know where the comedians you have come through, or?
Jeff Dye was probably the biggest one, and because he was more involved with the show. Jeff Dye, he was on not America's Got Talent. There was a show a long time ago on NBC called oh my gosh, he was on Better Late Than Never.
Last Comic
Standing. That was it. He was on one of the first seasons. He was somewhere in season 2 or 3, I think. And he was kind of a young kid, good-looking kid, long kind of skateboardy look to him, but he was hilarious. And then we just literally crossed paths with him while we were on that morning show, and we knew all three of us guys. We knew him, and we're like, let's go ask him if he wants to be on the show. And then we asked him like, hey Jeff, we know you're a celebrity and everything, but would you mind coming to our basement and doing an episode?
Did you say it just like that?
Yeah, exactly like that. That's what it felt like, honestly.
Okay, yeah.
And he said, yeah, sure, let's do it. When do we do it? And we're like, it was surreal because like here's the celebrity we had watched on TV, and we all appreciated comedy and especially stand up. And like, here he is in my basement. And then he gave us the hookup and connections with some other comedians in the comedy, the improv in Kansas City.
Noticing some parallels in your architectural photography career.
How do you mean?
Had a celebrity architectural photographer in your basement.
Yeah, I invite people over to my basement.
Then you started introducing, and then you started like getting, involved with other clowns in the community.
I really am. I mean, I'm an opportunist. If I see an opportunity, man, I'm gonna jump on it. I would rather die knowing I tried than being on my deathbed and saying, "Oh, I wish I would have done X, Y, Z." So.
There's an opportunist. There's a positive opportunist, and there's like the negative opportunist. I think you're a positive opportunist. You're not like taking advantage of people.
Oh God, no, no.
Let's put a pin in that because I want to come back.
Okay.
To that. But I asked you a while back. I've heard you and other people from Kansas City say you're from Kansas City, but the rest of the world.
They want to know what side of the state.
Yeah, so is it Kansas or Missouri?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so can you explain how this works?
Okay, so Kansas City is a lot.
Let's set the record straight.
All right, here we go. This is official, and this needs to be on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Kansas City is very similar to, from what I hear, the way I think it's St. Paul and Minneapolis.
Yeah.
If I remember, they're very major cities right next to each other, and Kansas City, basically, when you refer to Kansas City, you're referring to the whole metropolitan area of a city where the dead center of it, like downtown Kansas City, technically is on the Missouri side, but literally a few blocks west, you're on the Kansas side. So, your radius from downtown extends all the way into both states.
Okay.
So when you say you're from Kansas City, that could be where I'm from. Like
We're all in this together.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all poke fun at each other, but like, I mean, it's fact. People from Missouri are worse drivers than Kansas, and I'm from the Kansas side, so yeah, they'll take note of that.
So just in case people need to know, and they have this itch. It's Kansas City, Kansas, technically, but it's Kansas City.
Yeah. So if someone says
one large metropolitan,
yeah, and then inevitably that's a question people ask, like, "Oh, you're from Kansas City, on the Kansas side or Missouri side?" I'm like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I mean, and especially with work, it does not matter
because everybody knows.
Yeah, and unless you're living in downtown, everything's going to be, most work is going to be somewhere between a 15 to a half-hour drive. So
yeah, in Minnesota, it was basically like you say you're from Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Yeah, it all rolls into one word.
If you're talking to people from outside of the area, if you're talking to somebody in Minnesota, you're from the cities.
Oh, that's what you call it?
The cities.
The cities. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, you have your own slang.
Yeah.
It's same with Kansas City. Like, where are you from? Kansas City. And you think that should answer your question.
Yeah.
And then when people ask further, like, what do you care?
Yeah, when I first moved to Minnesota, and I don't know why stuff like little odd facts like this fascinate me, but like I remember moving to Minnesota, and everybody kept on saying, "Yeah, I'm going up to the cities this weekend." I'm like,
"What are you talking about?
Aren't we in a city?" Like, but no, it's like everywhere. It's like everywhere in Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and even the greater metro area. It's just considered the cities.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay, so you were doing the comedy podcast, and you are very quick-witted. Sometimes.
Yeah.
At least tonight.
When I'm sober.
Yeah. But yeah, we're
no, I'm gonna keep going.
There's some people that are going absolutely crazy right now.
Oh yeah, they probably locked off already.
Yeah, probably.
I've watched some of your other episodes, and they are way more serious.
Oh man. Well, I think it depends on the mood. Like I never wanted these to be like have a format.
Yeah.
I just want them to be a conversation, and when the conversation is done, the conversation.
Well, I saw some of your other episodes, and then when you asked me to do this, I was like,
oh,
I'm not sure if I'm going to fit the format.
There's no format. It's just like, you get the personalities you get. Like Simon is.
Who Simon reminded me of?
Who?
And some people might take this as an insult, and clearly that's not what I mean, is Elon Musk. Like, you ask him a question, and you can see the gears turning in Simon's head. Like, he is very thoughtful in the words that come out of his mouth. And I'm very jealous of people like that because I'm uncomfortable sometimes with awkward silences, and I'll just fill it sometimes with just stupidity. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
But I was watching Simon, and it reminded me of when Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan. Like, Joe Rogan would ask Elon Musk a question, and it would take him sometimes like 5 to 10 seconds to come up with the answer.
Yeah, that's very astute observation. Like I also pay attention to stuff like that, and I did notice that with Simon. I think what it is, and I tried. I'm also trying to do this more as I go along. Is I also just word vomit.
Yeah,
and I heard. Are you familiar with Chris Do?
No.
Chris Do is like a internet marketing branding guru, basically.
Okay, the name sounds.
He has a thing called The Future.
Yes.
Anyway,
okay,
I heard him talking in a podcast once, like he was doing like a group coaching kind of thing.
Okay.
And he was talking to this guy, and they call him I can't remember what his nickname is, but anyway, he's like, he kind of has that as well. Like, he's very thoughtful with what he says, but his words kind of cut. Like they can kind of sting a little bit because he gets right to the point.
For better or for worse.
But I heard him tell this one guy something about he used the phrase word economy. And I was like, that's a really interesting way to look at it, because I'm the same way. Like, oftentimes I'll get into a conversation and I'm either nervous or it's like an awkward silence and I'm not comfortable sitting in silence a lot. So I'll just I won't shut up and I'll just keep talking. And I've been noticing that more and more. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this, I started doing this open book club thing where I was doing podcasts, and I'm basically just doing it to a small group of people.
Yeah.
And I've got probably 35 episodes, but part of the reason I did that is because I wanted to get better with this talking thing.
Yeah.
I used to have a podcast a long time ago. I did like 125 episodes, And that was 2013, 2014. And I haven't really done anything since to like practice speaking.
Sure.
So anyway, long story short, as I'm talking about word economy, doing a podcast has been really helpful with that.
Yeah.
But I did observe that with Simon and others that are a lot more thoughtful with the way they word things. And I don't know what it is specifically. I think that in his case, he's answered a lot of these questions a lot.
Could be. Yeah.
And he's also trying to figure out, maybe he's trying to figure out how to best word it. Or maybe he's also practicing it. Like, I don't want to word vomit. I want to choose my words carefully. You know what I mean? And he's just like pausing and being okay with that uncomfortable silence for a second while he thinks about it. In Elon Musk's case, that dude just has so many things going through his head.
Oh, I'm sure. He's on a different level, for better or for worse.
But I agree with you. I think, but it depends on who you're interviewing. Like Art and Lauren, completely different vibe. Adam's completely different vibe. The others that I've recorded that I haven't edited yet, they all have kind of a completely different vibe.
Yeah.
Just depends on who I'm talking to, the mood, but there's no structure to it. It's just a conversation.
Yeah.
And I've been talking for about 4 minutes already. So
yeah, I'm really bored with this. Yeah. So I tuned out a long time ago.
Yeah, me too.
All I've learned is that you're from Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, but so that's that's the thing. That's something I have to practice. Is this word economy.
Is that along the lines of? Because when I worked in radio, there was a saying that I think it's one of the founding fathers. It might be Thomas Jefferson or Franklin or somebody said and I'm paraphrasing here, but there's some sort of art. One of man's greatest art or skills is using one word when normally two would do. Something along those lines. And we use that when writing copy because obviously if you were writing a commercial for somebody, you only got 30 seconds or 15 to get your message across. But is that kind of along the same lines of like trying to be very efficient with your words?
I would say so. I mean, I think I'm not really doing anything to try and help it. I'm just more observing it at this point and thinking about it more. So.
No, I noticed one of the biggest leaps in my ability to speak or talk or whatever your public speaking generalization was the podcast. Yeah. Because the first few episodes we did, I was the guy who would go back and edit. I'm like, oh my God, that's what I sound like. And it wasn't, you have to get over, oh, thanks, Siri. You have to get over not liking the sound of your own voice. I think everyone has that. Most people have that. But then the other one was the word whiskers, the unnecessary uhs. And, I just did it. I don't know, just filling.
Filler words.
Yeah, exactly. When it really wasn't necessary, stumbling over your words. But yeah, podcasting helped out a ton.
It's funny. Because you have to go through and edit those out, and it helps you become more conscious of that. But since I've been paying closer attention, I know I eat Chipotle like all the time. It's kind of a running joke between me and others. But I noticed that when I'm doing my Chipotle,
that pillow can tell.
I noticed when I'm doing my Chipotle order that I say, for some reason I go overboard on the filler words. I'll say, "Can I have brown rice, please?"
Yeah.
Small amount of black beans, chicken, and it's like, every single time. And I don't know why I do it, but my point is I'm just so conscious of it now. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but yes, the word economy thing. So why are your videos so damn long?
Oh man.
If you haven't watched Adam's episode yet, that's what we're referring to.
No, Adam was making a good point. It's just, well, I mean, and everybody's video style is different. Honestly, so the reason my videos are probably longer than like someone who loves the short and sweet is, I guess I'll boil it down to 3 reasons. One is I write, if it's a scripted video, I write it like an article. Like the one I posted, the 7 tips for interior design. I wrote that. It took me a couple weeks. I spent a lot of time writing it, refining it. So that's one reason. The other one is I'm writing to myself. Most videos, and I told you this earlier, it's almost as if I'm creating a video that's going to travel through time and it's going to go out to a younger version of myself who's new to architecture photography. And if other people happen to glean anything from it, fantastic. So that's who I'm writing to. And that leads into reason number 3 is I explain a lot of the why. And I think that is the big hook. You can tell people, and people love these videos of what settings should I use on my flash? What settings should I use on my camera? And you could make a video that goes, here's what it does, and here's the settings you should use. Boom, done. And that will satisfy a lot of people. But I also want to get to the why. And the why sometimes takes some explanation. And so, and again, I'm not doing it necessarily for mass appeal. I'm writing to, a younger version of myself in this because that's what helped it sink in. I would watch Mike Kelly's tutorials and stuff, and I put this at F9 or F10 and I shoot with this. Okay, great. And most people could go, I'm just going to copy that. I'm the guy who wants to
next video he throws it all away.
Yeah, and then next video it's completely different settings. Yeah. I want to get to the why. That's what I'm interested in. Yeah. And honestly, that's helped helped out with the podcast, because I interviewed a lot of people and I kind of would have that private eye type mentality. I'm like, well, tell me why. I don't care what you did, but tell me what was in here. And that's why my videos are so long sometimes, is because I want to fully explain my perspective and my point of view. So take that, Adam. I love Adam.
Just kidding. And there's also a joke there, because my videos are longer and they're also not scripted. I kind of just go off the cuff and I ramble.
Well, and let's face it too, to monetize now for mid-credit ads, your video has to be over 8 minutes.
Does it?
Yeah. Otherwise you can't throw those little ticker ads at the bottom, or the ad breaks in the middle of the video. Yeah, see, you'll learn
way over my head. Yeah, I mean, for you, I kind of want to walk back to this. I want to lead up to this, because I do want to understand, like, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but like, where did this inquisitiveness, or this, I don't know, I guess this, if that's what you would call it, like you said, you like to know the why.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think kind of drives that?
Man, I have no idea. I'm not one of these people that loves to know, that looks at like a watch and wants to take it apart to figure out how it works. That I don't really care about. I love the beauty of a watch. I mean, I do like to know some. I guess if I'm passionate about it, I really want to dive deep into it. But if I'm not like enthralled and extremely passionate about it, I can still appreciate something, but I don't have to do a deep dive. Like, some people have called me obsessed about certain things. There are certain topics that I've just become obsessed with and I will study about. When I first started getting into video, my wife would say, you're becoming obsessed, because I would want to learn everything about video. I know about stills and the ISO and shutter speed and all that, but what does that do to a video? And watch a ton of YouTube videos of people doing that, and a bunch of instructions. And I guess now that I'm talking out loud, some of it might come from an insecurity, because if I'm going to put something out there or do something, I want to be, at the very least, be perceived as good. So I better know all I can about it. Yeah, maybe that's all tied together. Don't send me an invoice for this therapy session, okay?
Well, tell me more.
I'm just kidding. I'm going to lie down on the couch. Yeah, I mean, that might be all tied together. I mean, there is... I think we all have egos, but there's a little bit of an insecurity too, that, whenever you're doing anything, especially from an artistic standpoint, you want to at least be perceived as decent at it. And so if I'm going to do anything that I'm passionate about, which is usually related to something artistic, I want to know how to be. I would love to be great right out of the gate. Clearly I was talking to you earlier, like my first YouTube video where I knew this is going to be my first video where I'm going to start building the channel. I wanted to do everything in my power to study how to make it a good video, but in the back of my head, I knew there's a saying, your worst videos will always be your first ones. So I had to get that out of the way. But still, I wanted to come out of the gate fairly strong. So yeah, the inquisitive nature is probably tied to passion matched with insecurities of coming off like a dummy.
Look, all of us are insecure to a certain extent. I would argue that, at least. I mean, some people will say they're not.
Oh, yeah.
But that's because they're insecure.
Exactly. No, we all have our insecurities. There's certain things that, someone could point their finger at me and call me short, and that won't bother me.
But you're not.
Because I'm not, and I know that. But I have insecurities that someone could point their finger at me and say, you're XYZ, and it'll tear me down. I'm back to like a 6-year-old kid or something. So.
Well, that's interesting too. I definitely resonate with that. And I think I've taken that. So we were talking a little bit earlier about community and like how we're kind of the same. Like we're very into the community thing.
Yeah.
I also am somebody who becomes very protective of people, like from bullying.
Yeah.
So like there's some people, and I'm not going to talk about them now, but there's some people who have like, in my eyes, kind of been bullies in the community.
Yeah.
And like I have this, and I've seen people that I care about in the community be kind of like lightly bullied by these people, you know, and it's like that brings up a lot of my own insecurities of like when I was bullied as a kid.
Yeah.
And like I become very protective. And I think also for like a lot of the reason I put stuff out, if we're doing the therapy thing right now, is because like I know that by helping people, I've learned over time that by helping people, it helps you get out of your own head.
Sure.
You know, it's like if I'm learning something, well, one, I know that if you want to learn something yourself, teach it. It helps to learn. So that's one aspect of it. So like you said, like making videos that talk to yourself from years ago, like that was one of my driving factors as well. But I also know that like when you help other people, like it makes you feel better. Like it gives you something, you know what I mean? Like, so I think a lot of my motivation as well is because it does make me feel good. It's like, I also have my own insecurities, but it's like, if I can get out of my own head and help other people and share whatever my thoughts are at any given time, that helps me as well. You know what I mean? It's like, I can, then I like every single time I do something to help somebody, I can look at those bullies, whether they exist or not. And like every single time it makes them a little bit more impactful. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I mean, that's going to come with time. Yeah. I knew when I started the YouTube channel or started to put anything out there other than just photos, I knew I was dipping my toes into a realm of potential harsh criticism and trolling. And fortunately, I've been able to steer clear of it a decent amount. There's still the occasional like idiotic comment on YouTube, and honestly, I just delete them. I cannot stand negativity just to be a butt, and not that I'm trying to like hide criticism. There's still critical comments on my channels that I leave on there. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not that insecure. But there's stuff that's, you know, someone's just being a jerk. I'm like, I'm not going to leave that on there. Why would I? I don't know. I completely forgot where I was going with it. But yeah, I mean, putting yourself out there, you know, it's going to happen.
Comes with the territory.
But what reminded me, what you said is there's a selfish reason for helping people because there's a huge satisfaction of doing that. I mean, honestly, when people make comments or on the videos or Instagram or something, say, hey man, you really helped me step up my game. Look at this cool photo I was able to use with Flash, and I've always been apprehensive to use Flash. I mean, stuff like that's awesome, makes my day. And I feel like, I mean, that's cool and everything, but like, I'm honestly a nobody. I really am. I'm just some doofus who happened to be decent talking to a camera. That's it. There's really nothing special about me. I just happen to be okay about conveying some information. Other than that, I'm like, you know, when people will message about, hey, do you do mentorships and all this stuff? And I will politely kind of brush it off. I don't feel qualified. Like,
really?
I mean, I can give advice. I know this seems ironic because I literally have a video course with Mike, but really that I viewed that course with Mike as just, you know, learn from my experiences. I had to learn through trial and error.
Well, that's all you're doing with coaching or mentoring, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
it's you're just sharing. Well,
I think part of it is I just don't want the responsibility too.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that might be it. Like, what should I do in this situation? I might tell them, well, here's what I would do. And they'll go, okay, well, I'm going to do that. And it might be the worst advice.
Yeah, they might screw
and then they have to blame it on me.
Yeah.
Like, well, you told me.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
Talk about pizza.
Yeah. Well, the haters do come with the territory, but it's like, again,
well, I know what I was going to say, because someone asked me, we were at one of those, I was telling you about these parties this magazine puts together, and somebody asked me, like, and they weren't being cynical. They're like, what? So why are you doing the YouTube stuff? You know, where do you see yourself in like 5 years? You know, why are you doing all this? And I said, within the photographer community, I want to be one of the guys that people look at and go, he really helped me.
Yeah.
That's it. Honestly, if I can be on my deathbed and someone go, man, the information he provided really helped my business, that means a lot. And I just want to be the photographer who does, obviously I want to be decent in my own work, my own career, dealing with the clients that I do. But if I can also be known as the person who helps a ton of people, that's huge. I think that's awesome. It probably sounds cheesy, but I don't.
No, not at all. I feel the exact same way. Why? But why do you? What is the driving factor for that for you to think? Like, there's I'm not gonna get into it all right now, but like, you listen to Tony Robbins? Have you ever listened to Tony Robbins or anything?
I mean, I don't.
Well, like, bottom line is, he's got this thing he calls his have you heard of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, it's like an old psychological thing or whatever. Tony Robbins has a variation of it, and one of the things that he puts in these needs is like the need for significance, connection, growth. There's like 5 or 6 of them or something like that. But anyway, the point being is we all have these needs it's basically our driving factor in life, all these different needs we can fulfill. But some of us are more driven by one or the other. So like for me, I'm very much driven by like connection. Yeah. For example, there's some people that like at one point in time I was really driven by significance because I felt somewhat insignificant. Yeah. In my career, I guess. Before photography, like I just felt kind of somewhat insignificant.
Like a cog in the machine.
Yeah, I just felt like there's nothing fulfilling about what I'm doing. There's no reason for anybody to remember me if I were to pass away today. Like there's like 0 significance. So like I think when I became a photographer and started doing things on my own, I got excited about that. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa. I figured this thing out through trial and error. I learned all these different things. I want to share that with people. Yeah. And then that kind of helped fulfill that significance. And then it became, like we were talking earlier, we're in an industry where your wife can go or anybody's significant others can go to work, hang out with their
if you coworkers. Have a regular job.
If you have a regular job. And it's like, we don't have that.
Yeah. We don't really have coworkers.
Yeah, we don't.
The people you might closely resemble a coworker are actually clients. They're really not. It's very rare in our line of work to talk shop with coworkers because, and honestly, the people you might consider coworkers are actually your competition, you know? And I'm not I really don't care that much, that whole philosophy on that about competition, but I know a lot of other photographers who I would love to spend time with. They don't want to,
Who? Let's just.
I don't want to throw anybody on the bus. No, I know they don't want to spend time with me because they view me as competition. Okay. Or they're introverted. Like
what other photographers are in your area?
There's no other photographers in Kansas City, in my opinion. I'm the best. No, I mean this is not that.
I understand.
These people I'm talking about.
I understand. I understand. I'm trying to make you feel uncomfortable.
And thank you. You did a real good job. We're done. No, but I think. So I got a big lesson about this when I did the podcast. We did a round of episodes. We were talking with local breweries in Kansas City. And I was hit with the realization among the breweries, they are all each other's best friend. Yeah. The camaraderie among the brewery industry, like that, basically that's not like Budweiser or Anheuser-Busch, anything like that. Yeah. They all exchange ideas, recipes, they meet. They're all in it together because they kind of have a common enemy, and that's the big beer brands or whatever. Yeah. And it gets to a certain point where they don't view each other as competition. They have a recipe, and if the public likes it, or if a certain segment of the public likes it, great. Then they've won those customers, and they'll probably never lose them. And the same with this brewery, and the same with that brewery. And it was really hit me. I'm like, wow, that's huge. And not just photography, but I think Kansas City has this issue, and I think other metropolitan areas have this issue. When it comes to creatives, we play things so close to the chest. We're afraid to reveal things. Oh, I'm not gonna let my people know my pricing, or I'm not gonna let people know how I reach new clients and all that stuff. And and understandably so. You don't want to divulge all trade secrets or whatever, however you want to put it. But at the very least, it just, again, we don't have coworkers. So I think there would be a benefit for the community side of it. And like, I have an idea of setting up some sort of at least one initial meeting with a bunch of photographers within Kansas City. And it's the idea of, I've mentioned in passing to other photographers in the area, but I've never made the official like announcement to do it because I'm honestly afraid no one's going to show up.
And that's on them though.
I mean, true. And I just wonder sometimes if I'm perceived as the clown in Kansas City, and I honestly don't care.
Hey, everybody needs a clown.
Yeah, I really don't care. I know of at least one photographer who's well established in Kansas City that has blocked me on social media, and I've never interacted with this person at all. It's no, no. No, Nate is great. Yeah. It is not Nate. I actually, you can leave this in. I chatted with Nate 2 or 3 days ago.
That's awesome.
At one of those parties. We're very, very different personalities. Styles might be kind of similar, but he's got a style, I got a style. But yeah, no, it's not him. There's
I know. I was whispering because I thought it was funny. Like, I know. No. I know he's listening.
No. Yeah, and I don't know. I'm probably naive. I have this almost childish like vibe where I'm going, hey guys, let's all be best friends and buddies, and they're all like, I don't want anything to do with you, man.
Well, that's because architectural photographers take ourselves too seriously. A lot of us.
A lot of them do.
Like,
yeah,
there's this. Okay, so I've been adopting this term into what we do. I can't remember where I heard it. Somebody was talking about over intellectualizing something, and I was like, that's exactly what we do. We over intellectualize architectural photography.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing we're missing is the scarves.
And the this tiny fedoras, and order room glasses.
Well, some of them, I mean, there's people, but I'm saying, like, I almost thought about making a video for like April Fools that was basically a tutorial on how to become an architectural photographer, and it was going to be all about like,
dude, I might steal that idea.
Buying the Allbirds, Allbirds scarf, architect like artsy fartsy glasses, and
you demand you only shoot what you want to shoot, only angles like you want to shoot, no compromise.
Anyway, that was the working idea. So maybe someday we can collaborate on that.
Yeah, that would be
so you guys may see a brand new course coming your way.
So good.
Oh, that would be just a comedy.
That would probably go, and that's another goal that I want to do with my YouTube channel. Are you familiar with the YouTube channel Buff Dudes?
No.
Okay, so it's a health and fitness channel, but it's these two brothers, and they take tips and tricks and stuff about health and fitness, and they make it the most entertaining way possible. It's just, and that's what I kind of long term I would love to do with architecture photography, because I'll be honest, I bore myself sometimes on my own videos. It's just, okay, and then we add this layer and we change it to light, and then we do a brush light. I literally recorded a tutorial once that never went live. I should put this as an Instagram post, and I'm on video and I go, this is boring. Just walk away. And I never posted it.
So here's
I might have deleted the file.
Here's a funny thing. I used to, this is pathetic, but I used to, there came, and I'm not trying to say like everybody was reaching out to me, but it came to a point where I didn't want to answer questions about editing anymore.
Yeah.
When people don't do it as much anymore, but there was a period, and maybe you experienced it. There was a period of time where people were like asking about how you edited something.
Yeah.
So what I started doing was I started screen recording every single one of my editing sessions.
Gotcha.
I would hit record on ScreenFlow. If I was doing something noteworthy, I would talk through what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then I would just save it and hold on to it for a while. If anybody asked, I would just send them the video.
That's a good idea.
Good idea, but an incredible waste of time.
Oh, okay.
I mean, think about it. No. I'm saying, imagine like all the time it takes to like record a tutorial and then export it. Like, it was just a big waste of time.
Well, and see that's the catch-22 is on my channel. Some of the most amount of views are coming from how to edit this photo, and I'm like, it's my least favorite to put together. It's the easiest, honestly. And my style of video, when it comes to that, I already edit it. I just go through the layers and explain each layer.
Yeah.
The one where I bored myself to death was me going through step by step, and I'm looking at my watch like, it's a 45-minute video.
Yeah.
There's no way I would not watch it.
That's my comfort zone.
See, and I just
because I don't have to think about it.
I get tired of hearing myself, and that was it. I'm like, I can't.
I don't get tired of hearing myself.
I get tired of hearing you. Clearly, Adam does too.
Adam hasn't even heard me.
That was the funniest thing.
But it's bookmarked to
I'll watch it later.
I mean, I get sick of hearing myself, but I mean, like, what I meant was, like, the video's done when I'm done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even these conversations, like, I'm not going to cut it off like at half hour. Like, oh, we're coming up on time.
Yeah,
so, like, I'm going to talk until I'm done talking.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, looks like you're getting done talking.
Oh, God, no. No, but I was done at 20 minutes ago, George.
Yeah.
Jeez. No, it's, again, I make the videos for myself, a version of myself. And I get kind of bored with those because what I like to do is try to fast forward to, like, Anthony Turnham, who I poked fun of in one of my most recent videos. I call him out. He's too handsome.
Who is he?
Anthony Turnham?
I'm not sure.
I think he's from New Zealand. Dude's got like stellar arms.
Is he an architecture photographer?
Yeah, I think he does other genres too, but he eventually kind of split his channel. He does a little editing stuff related to kind of pretty much all genres except architecture, and then he started another channel solely dedicated to architecture. But I would watch his videos, and while I appreciate all his process, there's a lot of it that I would know, but I would want to fast forward to the stuff I didn't know.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm kind of making videos for myself. Like, let me just kind of get to the meat of it and just explain the layers instead of me brushing something. I just want to explain I brushed something.
So why not just make shorter videos that only cover that one particular thing?
Could be, but again, I don't know exactly what everyone's looking for.
But like it could just be something you came across that has been really
Yeah,
like, so for
true.
example, I started
Because every
doing this as
shot's
well.
unique.
Like I don't remember, maybe it was Mike or somebody else, but there was a video a long time ago about the what is it, the vanishing point tool in Photoshop?
Yes.
Where you can clone
Yeah.
perspective, and I haven't seen another video about that since, so I made one. I haven't
Oh, nice.
published it yet, but it's like I was editing a photo and I was like, I got to use the vanishing point tool, hit record.
And see, that would be, that'd be good because I know there's probably a video or two out there, but I don't run into that issue often. But when I do, I always go back to YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need someone to explain that again.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, maybe you could do it that way instead of doing a whole. I mean, do stuff that is like a good repository for.
Well, I mean, what I have done is, so I use Flash a decent amount. I don't use Flash on every single shot, but that was something I was noticing I was getting a lot of questions about, was related to Flash. So it's like, okay, so let me do some a variety of different types of videos about how I use Flash in different scenarios. Because again, that was one of the questions everyone asked. Well, when should I use Flash? Like, there's no solid answer to that. There's no formulaic answer I can give. So what I would do is create videos like, okay, well, here's one scenario. Oh yeah, it was the video I did, like using Flash for interior photos. I think I laid out 4 or 5 different photos and showed how I used Flash 4 different ways. Some was heavily Flash, and some of it was barely anything at all. And the point of that was to kind of answer those people. Like, there's no formula. I think I even say in the video, there's no one size fits all answer.
Yeah.
Sorry, there just isn't. And even in some of them, I say, yeah, I use Flash, but you might be a photographer who would look at this and go, it didn't need any Flash. And guess who's right? Neither of us. It's just a taste.
Well, actually, it's the other person.
It's the other. Yeah, I mean, because look at me. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, so serious question though. Like, do you start with just the exposure? Do you just look at the room and say, does this need Flash, or is there a problem? Like, how do you? Or do you just go into every shot assuming you're going to use Flash?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I don't assume anything. I honestly don't. Clearly, the more I can know about a space before I start shooting, whether that's via a walkthrough, rendering cell phone photos that a designer or builder took already, the more I can know about it, the better. But no, I don't assume anything. I used to assume I'm going to light it everything. Because I used to call myself the control freak. I love to control all the light. And to an extent that still carries over, but then I started realizing like, oh, instead of me adding light, maybe I can just shape what already exists, meaning I can maybe instead of, adding flash over here, I just remove or close the blinds over here or something like that, and just relying upon the natural window light. So no, I don't assume anything. It's just like we were talking earlier before. Yeah, I think I heard it from somebody else. Architecture and design, especially interiors, it's like problem solving, not only within the same property, but shots within the same property. Sometimes you're problem solving every single angle.
Yeah.
So the challenge is maybe this angle you don't need any flash, in this one you do. Well, how do you make these two look similar in the same style and not make this one look clearly flashed and this one natural light? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. So I think that's the fun of it. That's the fun natures. That there is some uncertainty, but that the nervousness of that goes away with experience over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just kind of walk in and you're able to like look at something, do a quick analysis, and say, "This goes here. This is what I need to do."
And a lot of it depends too on what the designer or whatever the client wants. What's the mood they're going for? If it depends on the composition. I mean, if I'm shooting for a builder and they just love super gigantic wide shots, well then I'm probably not going to get a lot of mood, from it, because that would just be way too much work. It's not realistic, and so, just take each shot as it comes, honestly.
So enough with the stupid photography talk.
Yeah,
Let's go. Let's go back. I said I wanted to put a pin in the opportunist stuff.
Yeah.
So like, we don't have to go into your whole origin story of photography unless you want to, but because you covered that a little bit in the course you did with Mike, and
a little bit.
I'm sure most people have, but like kind of just briefly.
Okay, I'll breeze through it. So did a lot of corporate, regular jobs. I started swinging a hammer in HVAC, did insurance, worked on radio.
Stop.
Yeah.
Why do you say HVAC versus HVAC? Isn't it easier to say?
People call it HVAC. Yeah, so that's just the way I always referred to it.
Okay. This isn't directed at you. It's just I hear people say HVAC.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, gosh, it takes so long to say that.
Do you even know what it stands for?
Heating, ventilation, air control,
and cooling.
And cooling. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, God, that was such a wasteful question. You wasted so much time on it.
I did waste. You know what? I had to. This was an important question.
We spent 30 minutes explaining HVAC.
It was an important question.
Oh my goodness, Siri. Okay, so then I as a kid I always loved photography, and it is a hobby. And then I started in actually fitness photography professionally. I did photos for CrossFit gym owners, because I used to do CrossFit. And then a lot of the gym owners wanted to redo their sites. This was like in the early days of CrossFit. And so, I would photograph these coaches doing cool exercises. And, they look like gods and goddesses. So you got to know lighting and texture and all that stuff. Anyway, so I was at a karaoke night one night where I was with a friend of mine who was there. We're a couple cocktails deep. And, she's an she's a real estate agent. She says, "Oh, yeah, we hire photographers all the time." And I'm like, "Well, I could do that." That was probably the whiskey talking. And she hired me for a shoot. Photos were terrible. Then I looked some more research into it. I'm like, oh, real estate's actually kind of low-hanging fruit in Kansas City at the time, because most real estate photos were terrible. Did real estate for several years. Kind of fell out of love with it because I started to appreciate more of the art. And I knew the allotted time for real estate wasn't matching up with the time you needed to treat it as an piece of art. So then I started to transition out of that. And then going... Yeah, man, I'm tactfully aggressive in my approach. Talking about opportunists, there was probably in Kansas City, one of the biggest builders in Kansas City is this, I won't say their name, but before you follow me on Instagram, it's pretty clear who it is. But their photos, I didn't think they were great. I thought they could be better, and their buildings were fantastic. And I really wanted to shoot for him. And there was this guy, their head of marketing, his name was Bob, and I really wanted to get in front of Bob. And I even hustled my way into model homes that were open where there's an agent there, and they're like, "Hi, what are you doing?" I'm going, "I'm just taking some photos for," and I would name drop like a magazine that I had done one shoot for, and they're like, "Okay," and the whole goal was to shoot this. That I knew it was Bob's Builders, not Bob the Builder. That sounds funny. The company that Bob was working for, and I would use that as leverage, and I would email him. Go, "Hey Bob, look what I did for your model home." Never replied.
You should have called him Bobby. Hey, Bobby.
I could now. And then I did it for another model home. Put in like 3 sample images and never replied. And then one day I found out, I followed him on Facebook, and
You found out you were spelling Bob wrong in the email.
I was calling him Bub this whole time. I'm like Wolverine. And
sorry, I keep on interrupting you with my.
Yeah, I really don't like it. You are terrible.
I suck at it.
And so I found out they were going to be at this charity event at one of their huge, gigantic builds. I snuck into the event and finally met Bob in person. And I said, "Hey, Bob," I introduced myself. And he goes, "Oh, you're the photographer that's what bothered me." I said, "Yeah, that's me." And I said, I think I can give you a different spin on your photos. I think I can really make them look amazing. I said, "Just give me a shot on something." He goes, "Well, what about this place?" And I said, "Let me do a twilight shot for this place." And so that evening, I did a twilight shot on the house that I had snuck into, and they started using me ever since. And that was, and probably 7-8 years ago.
Have you talked to him about what it was? Was it your photo, or was it like your persistence? Was it you just showing
it's
up?
combo of everything.
Yeah.
And you have to, and again, like I said, I'm tactfully aggressive. You can be aggressive in your marketing, your approach, and your sales tactics, or whatever you want to call it. And you can be annoying.
Yeah.
But you got to know how to do it tactfully, because
Well, that's gonna be different for everybody because it depends on your personality,
True.
and your social skills.
But here's the thing: is most people who are good in business, they are also doing the same thing. Like if they're in any type of sales and marketing, or if they are CEO of a company, they have those same struggles too. They are selling a product or service, and so they have to do something similar, but it's obviously it's on a different scale. But so they also appreciate people who kind of have that same drive and that same tenacity. You know, if you got on that's how I got my radio job. I had no experience in radio, and I bugged the snot out of the sales manager for this radio station I really wanted to work for, and he eventually hired me.
It was sales for radio though, right?
It was, yeah. I wasn't doing on-air stuff.
Well, because you've got an on-air thing. Like you could have done on-air probably.
I have the face for radio.
My cousin's. You're a beautiful guy. My cousin's been in radio his entire life, so
Yeah.
it's like I'm more familiar with radio than
Yeah.
the average person.
See, I mean, my parents were never rich by any means, so I knew as a kid.
Well, I don't want to talk to you then.
We're done. I knew I wasn't going to go to college. And I think my generation, I think the tide is shifting a little bit, but growing up, there was this mentality: the only way you're going to get a decent job is you got to go to college. Got to go to college. And I just knew I wasn't. And that's why I did HVAC, because my dad told me, well, you feel better now, is at the very least learn a trade. Like, okay. And not that I was trying to prove anything to anybody, but I knew I was going to have, if I was going to do anything on my own, I was going to have to put a little bit more extra effort into it than, say, maybe the kid who gets an opportunity just because he has an awesome resume.
Okay.
I got to make a little bit more noise tactfully compared to the other guy. So I think that's another thing that kind of drives me, because on paper, I'm not that impressive of a person, really. I mean, even before doing photography, the longest I ever held a job was about 2.5 years.
That's the same here.
Yeah, I mean, I was all over the place, and I don't have the only thing I really went to school for after high school was for heating and air. It was just a technical college. So, but yeah, if there's an opportunity, I will at the very least look into it. And I mean, I've done little things that just lead to other things. I mean, I've here with you doing this is cool. And I just keep tracing things back to, oh, this led to that. That's what led to this. And it was all, sometimes you just got to take a leap of faith.
Yeah, you have a high risk tolerance. Like, yeah. Well, I mean, like relatively, I mean, everybody's risk tolerance is gonna be a little different. Like you're not gonna spend $100,000.
No.
But like you're taking calculated risks and you're making calculated moves that are like you're following your interests, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you see one thing, you're like, oh, and it's not so much you're thinking this could lead to that. You're just like, oh, there's something there maybe I don't know what yet, but I want to follow that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if any, again, I'm not saying this to sound conceited, but if the only reason somebody knows Matthew Anderson from YouTube or Instagram or anything like that is probably because of this, because of this, because of this, and I can backtrack it all because of a huge mistake I made when I did not fully explain copyright and licensing to one of my clients, and he gave me a call, rakes me over the coals because he saw my photos on some contractor's showroom, and he's like, "What the hell, man? You know, you just gave away," what he kept calling his photos. And I was like, you know what? There's a lot of videos on YouTube talking about explaining copyright to photographers. I'm going to make a video as if I'm writing to that guy. And I wrote a video explaining copyright.
That's funny.
And the whole reason I made that video, I was writing to that guy. I was talking to the guy who just was screaming at me for 10 minutes. And again, tactfully, but, firmly explaining how copyright works to a client. And I did that because I couldn't find it. I was looking for something like that, and then I thought, well, hey, cool. If I could create this, then other photographers can use it. If they're not great at speaking or defending themselves, just go, well, here, watch this YouTube video. And that got on Mike Kelly's radar. And then he reached out and then asked me to start writing for APA. And I wrote for APA. And then he says, hey, let's create some sort of tutorial video series. I'm like, what? I mean, that was huge.
One condition, you have to come to my basement.
Yeah, really. I lured him. I mean, he came to visit my house, but again, it's just all kind of one thing led to another, and it's just I'm just kind of an opportunist. And
it's funny, like a lot of the things you said, I resonate with 100%. Like literally, I could share the same story with just different scenarios. Like the licensing video you made. Like I made a licensing video.
Yeah.
It was during the real estate world because an agent that I was working with told another agent that I didn't know what I was talking about when it came to copyright.
And that was your fuel.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a video that I'm gonna forward that agent to say, yeah, I do know what I'm talking about. And I actually sent it out to everybody on all my clients.
Oh, that's great.
And then I was like, oh, maybe I can share this on YouTube. I put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I got like, a lot of views or whatever, but it was for real estate. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, but it was funny because that was what fueled it. It was like somebody telling me I didn't know what I was talking about. And I'm like, oh, I'll show you. And then, the same thing with like, I don't know, like every little, I'm an opportunist as well. I think for the better, like I see something that, and I'm just very quick to move. I'm quick to pivot if I need to. Like, the real estate photography came out because my wife and I were looking for houses. Said this story a million times, but we couldn't find any because the photo sucked.
Yeah.
I asked the agent, I was like, have you ever considered working with a professional? I didn't even know real estate photography was a thing.
Oh, really?
Like, I didn't know. It was just like I did weddings and portraits.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about real estate photography. But I was just so frustrated that I was like, why aren't you guys using like a professional photographer? Like anything would be better than this. And he's like, you want to come photograph a few? And like, that's what started it all.
Yeah.
And that changed the trajectory of everything. Like even the way I thought about things. Like I was working at the time in a corporate office as a supervisor. Told you a little bit about that earlier, but when I started doing
the phone company.
Yeah. When I started doing the photography, it just changed the way I thought about everything. Like, I started educating myself and learning new things, and then learned that other people were also like, eventually doing it full time. I'm like, oh wow. So I was doing this on my lunch break, after work. I changed my schedule around so that I could do shoots, and eventually, like, I kind of created my own. My whole point is there's a lot of parallels in what you were doing or what you were saying. Like every little shiny object that I'd see, like I'd just chase after it out of curiosity, not really knowing exactly where it was going to lead, but it always ended up leading to something.
Yeah.
I
mean, if I've kind of had this idea, you ever see like conspiracy theorists, like the app with the string, and
I have all that in my office. Like,
this was an inside job.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, if you were able to, even wherever you are in your career, kind of draw the lines and a lot of things can sometimes lead back to just one simple decision. And, I'm not saying that like one particular job or if your work's published in one particular place, things are just going to blow up. It's just, you can see where things connect. You're like, wow, had I not done this, if I never made that big mistake by not explaining things, I might never have made that video.
Yeah.
I might never have got on Mike Kelly's radar. I might never have produced a course with him or anything like that. And, it's just kind of one thing leads to another. So, and especially when it comes to sales or selling your work or getting in front of clients, I've always told myself the worst thing they can tell you is no.
Right.
That applies to anything sales related. That's the absolute worst thing they can just tell you. No thanks. Perfect. Move on.
Yeah, and like, I used to think the worst thing was that they would go and tell everybody else, but the truth is, they forget about you 5 seconds.
Oh yeah,
after. It's like they're not thinking about you. So literally, the worst case scenario is they're going to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah. It actually took me until probably the last couple of years to actually realize that too. So I spent a lot of time worrying about the rejection in this business and like not taking as many risks.
Yeah.
But it's funny, once I started taking more risks, bigger risks, like everything starts working out for you. Like things just work out.
Yeah, I mean, I think, granted, when you're first starting off, whether you're new in any genre of photography or new to anything, doing anything on your own, the last thing you want to hear is someone tell you no. And I understand that there is a fear of rejection, but I will sometimes hear this fear come from other seasoned photographers too. Like they try to avoid, they live on hopium. I hope the client calls me back. Hopium. I hope that, they tell me yes. I just, and I would rather, I've used this line before in emails. What's the line? I would rather be accurate than optimistic. Basically, I'm telling people, tell me no. And if you tell me no, that's perfectly fine. I'm not a fit for everybody. Within my sales process, I give everybody the opportunity to tell me to go away because I know if they take me up on it, perfect, great, move on. Go to the next one, because now you're that much closer to the next client who's going to eventually tell you yes. And so, yeah, I mean, it's rejection. It's kind of par for the course, but then after a while, they're just kind of they're not necessarily rejecting you. It's just that maybe they can't afford you.
Right.
And maybe your style is just not a perfect match. I know clearly there's, you talked about Nate. There's people who love working with Nate who will never work with me because they love his style way more than me. That's cool. That's perfectly fine. Yes, I would love to work with everybody in Kansas City. That's not realistic. There's plenty of work to go around. But rejection, if they reject me because I'm too expensive and they're not a fan of the style, that doesn't hurt my feelings at all. It really doesn't. Yeah, I don't know, because
you're able to remove yourself as a person from the decision.
Yeah, and because now clearly at this point I put myself out there so much that I'm sure there's some people who look at me and go, "Oh, what a nutcase! I would never work with a guy who acts or whatever like that." I'm like, okay, that's fine. That you actually are rejecting me, and I would never get along with you on a shoot. Because and to be completely honest, I have a blast with all my clients on our shoots. We have fun. We bust each other's chops. Bob, who I snuck into, he's the guy. I'm not sure if you saw this a while ago. We were at an awards party, and I gave him a big old kiss on the cheek. And because we were at this awards dinner thing, and we're, hey, let's take this photo. We're like, okay. And his girlfriend takes the photo, says 1, 2, 3. And I give him this huge old smackaroo on this, and he just loves it. He thought it was hilarious. So I goof around with my clients, and we have a ton of fun during a shoot. And, again, there are people that sometimes we get drinks together after work and stuff like that. We enjoy each other's company. But I'm not a perfect fit for everyone. Yeah. There's people who would look at that and go, well, I don't think I could work with them. And if that's why they don't want to work with me, that's cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Then we were also talking earlier before this about like people are eventually like, I asked you the question, you think, because you said something to the effect of, what did you say? Like, you tell clients that your job is to make them look good.
Yeah, that's kind of like my elevator pitch.
Yeah, but my question I posed to you, well, it becomes, I think I maybe tripped over the words a little bit, but what I was trying to say is like, in reality, I wonder sometimes if our job is to make ourselves look good. Because it's like,
branding.
It's all about branding. It's like the photography is just a byproduct of them hiring you.
Yeah.
Like they're hiring you based on, in most cases, they're not hiring you based on your photography itself.
That's kind of a given.
A lot of the times they are.
Yeah.
Like some of the times they are. Like it's definitely like a deciding factor. But a lot of the times they're hiring you because they like working with you, or because they just want to be associated with.
Or from a referral from somebody else who loves working with you.
Yeah, I got to say, like, I know there's some people in my town that when I've been posting that I've been doing these podcast episodes, they're like doing the little heart thing where you post a story and they
they just like the story.
Yeah, or they'll add like a little emoji or something like that.
Yeah,
they're responding to that because they see me doing things actively.
You won't get any with this one.
Not this one.
No, clearly.
Because it's you.
This is awful.
It is. They're going to know. They're going to know right away. Like, oh, geez, let's skip this one. We're laughing like a bunch of little teenage girls. No, but anyway, my point is like, I think eventually it does become a point where it's like, I won't say which photographer, but like there's some photographers out there that could photograph a piece of poop and everybody would gush over it.
Because that photographer took it.
Because that photographer took it. It's like, it's not about the photography at some point.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they may have found some good light, and it is a beautiful.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've heard. I think F-stoppers did this once, long time ago, where they were trying to, if they were asking each other if someone could tell an Ansel Adams photo, the difference between that and like an iPhone photo or something.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Like a good chunk of time, they never picked the Ansel Adams photo as a great photo, as, oh, that's the better quality photo. But once you said it was an Ansel Adams, like, oh.
Yeah, it adds a ton of value. And there's also, I don't know, it's a pet peeve of mine because I think we put, especially like awards, and like I have all the respect for AP Almanac and everything.
Yeah.
Especially the way they do the awards. Like I think it's
9-day difference than how most of the other one.
It is. And it's clearly well thought out.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you look at the winners and 9 out of 10 of them are interesting subjects.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not saying that anybody could have shot those.
Yeah.
Like, those photographers are good photographers. They've studied the subject. They've made decisions that made the photos look that way.
Yeah.
But my point is like most of the time we associate good photos with the subject matter.
Yeah.
Versus the technical abilities of the photographer.
Well, I'll date myself in this reference. It's like being, shooting portraits or lingerie or bikinis, and your model is Cindy Crawford. It's like, how hard is that going to be to make her look beautiful?
Yeah.
It's like not that difficult.
Yeah. So it's like,
still takes skill, but the subject matter on its own is amazing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a bad way to shoot Cindy Crawford.
Yes, there is.
You know what I mean? Like, and somebody inexperienced would screw that up.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I've also seen where it's like some photos now, like fashion photos, are like, it's almost like they're intentionally shooting them bad.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen those where it's like the subject is like clearly whether it's a person or a building, it's a gorgeous subject, but the photograph is like just bad, like direct flash.
There's probably artistic.
But it's like the person who did it or the publication that it's in, it's like it automatically earns it some credibility.
Yeah.
And I don't know where.
But I get what you're saying though with the awards.
I know where I was going with this. I think that there should be an award category for best mediocre subject.
Yeah, I have wondered that because I think in all reality, most photographers who visit sites like AP Almanac or something like that are shooting subject matter that I shoot.
Yeah,
residential houses within a price range that isn't the lowest and it's definitely not the highest.
Right.
I am jealous of guys like Mike Kelly who are based in LA and all their subject matter is no less than a $5 million house. I mean, he's on average shooting $10+ million houses on a regular basis. And in Kansas City, if I get a on this market 1.5, that's cool. That's a nice house. But like the cookie cutter ones can be $1 million, $750,000 to $1 million.
Yeah.
Now, so you get a call and you say, well, it's a $800 million house. Like, who cares?
Right.
But so the subject matter in a lot of the markets is amazing. I visited Miami, couple year or two ago. Anyway, and just the architecture down there is amazing. Even just your average sized houses are beautiful. Now, to a Miami-based photographer, they take that for granted. That's what they shoot all the time. But yeah, again, that's unique to that area.
So that's a suggestion for anybody who's putting awards on out there. New category for
best
mediocre,
best shot making it on a media.
Yeah, and maybe the criteria could even be just so they can like judge the photographer.
Yeah,
like maybe include both, just a raw, untouched image, and then
I think we like a cell phone shot, like what it could look.
I don't know, just an idea.
Yeah,
like I think I would certainly submit if that were the case, because I haven't photographed that many interesting subjects. I mean, I've had a couple projects that I would consider noteworthy.
Yeah.
But it's like, for the most part, I just don't have that in them. Now, sorry to interrupt, but on the other hand, there are people who have shot boring things and made them look interesting.
Sure. And I mean, my only counter to that is like, awards are cool. They really are. I've gotten a few, and there's some other accomplishments that, like, I know one is like getting your something on the cover of a magazine.
Yeah.
And that's cool. And it's really flash in the pan stuff. It really is. And once it happens, like, cool. And like, it's only amazing to you and maybe a handful of people for a few seconds. And then it's kind of done. And like, well, like for AP Almanac, I don't do it for two reasons. One, again, I don't think the subject matter I shoot is in the league of like this hotel in the middle of the desert where there's nothing else within 5 miles around or anything like that. And the other one is I'm too involved with the website anyway. I can't submit anything. But, and awards are cool, but awards don't pay the bills. And I think as much as we'd love accolades,
they pay AP Almanac's bills. That's why you should submit.
Yeah. And in all reality, yes, you should, because AP Almanac does not take any ads. All of all the income on AP Almanac, it's all from stuff that's purchased on the store, things like that. And
which just for the record, I would be perfectly fine if AP Almanac had ads. Like,
I think that's Mike's
I get it,
resolve. And I understand.
I get it, but look, Mike, there's literally ads everywhere. I can see 5 ads in this room. Like, nobody will look down on you for having ads. Like, it's an expensive endeavor. You want to pay people. It's like this is a big thing.
I see both sides of it.
I do as well, and I
see keeping it pure. I see,
if not ads, a membership of some sort. I would pay a monthly fee to like have some kind of extra tier or membership for AP Almanac. More than I would like. There's another thing out there for architectural photographers that you can pay for. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's a website. It's an association.
Oh, okay.
You're not familiar with this?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, just in case this gets back to him, maybe I'll take this off. I'm not sure. There's a website, the Association of Independent Architectural Photographers.
Never heard of it. I didn't know this.
It's like $250 a year or something like that.
Okay.
You get your name in a directory, and there's occasionally a Zoom call they do every couple months.
Gotcha.
But really, all it is a link back to your website.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of the times, the inquiries you get are that's people either just going down the list of everybody and just emailing you as part of the list, or it's an editor trying to get your business.
Okay.
But it adds some value to your website because it creates like a backlink to your website.
Gotcha.
So, but I would gladly pay $250 a year or whatever it is to AP Almanac.
Yeah.
For the resources that it provides. And I'm not saying that Mike has to come up with some kind of membership thing. All I'm trying to illustrate is I would gladly pay. I bought everything except I haven't really submitted anything to the contest because I just literally don't have any.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I can't divulge everything, but Mike came to Kansas City at this point 3 or 4 months ago, and him and I talked for a while, and you might have seen it recently. There's a slight facelift to AP Almanac. There's some changes coming down the line. Long story short, Mike wants AP Almanac to become more of a resource to architectural photographers. Things that architectural photographers run into a lot, things that they need. He wants AP Almanac to become a hub for that. And, you know, I won't divulge everything, but I think long
You
term,
pretty much already have.
I spilled the beans on everything. Mike's going to put out a Mike Kelly 12-month, sexy calendar. So it's him in different pink and teal T-shirts. And some of them are really tight.
The different spectrum of Allbirds shoes. Different spectrum of
the 12 different hairstyles of Mike Kelly.
Lululemon.
That, you know what, Mike, on one of his videos, at first I disagreed with it 100%. This is before I crossed paths with him, but he's like, I'm the photographer. I'm there to hired for a job. I don't have to look amazing, and I show up sometimes with messy hair and borderline jogging pants, and back at that time, I was like really, really concerned with how I looked on shoots. I would wear like khakis and decent shoes and all that, sometimes button-up shirts. And then by the end of the shoot, I'm drenched in like sweat. And then after a while, I'm like, yeah, just a t-shirt and pants.
This is what I wear.
That's it. So I'm like, Mike was right in that. But no, I think long-term AP Almanac, I think within probably 2 to 3 years is going to be a very different kind of website than what it is now. It's just the problem is Mike's just pulled in a million different directions, and him and Lexi and I think Mike's girlfriend are basically the 3 people kind of overseeing just that one website. And I think they have aspirations to do some cool things. Mike and I are hopefully planning on doing some more stuff in the future. We'll probably every so many, maybe 2 or 3 years, give our business of architecture photography course a refresh every year, because things change. I'm sure 5 years from now, the information we divulge, parts of it might be out of date. We talk about COVID a lot, so that's going to seem outdated after a while. I hope, if things work out, AP Almanac should be a huge resource for newbies and seasoned photographers.
So what are your plans, Pat? So you've got the YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Look, people don't make YouTube channels to make a lot of money. Like, YouTube is not a career choice.
No, it is to a lot of kids.
so like, do you have any like independent plans down the road, do you think?
I have one. I talked to you about this. It's still an idea. It's still kind of in the scripted phase. It's to basically create something as a resource for photographers looking to basically transition from real estate to architecture photography. I was one of those guys. And when you want to do that, no one hands you a booklet or a video course and says, well, here's everything. I mean, even Mike's like tutorials, they're probably the most well-known architectural photography tutorials. A lot of that doesn't necessarily pertain because nobody automatically jumps from real estate to shooting with large firm architects, things like that. There's a lot that's just not discussed in there. And so I've always had this idea, if there was some sort of course, whether it's an ebook or a video course, kind of what's the saying, mile wide, inch deep around a whole bunch of things, and basically some sort of resource to go, okay, well, we're going to talk about this today, and here's a little bit of spiel about it. And if you want to learn more about it, well, then go to Jordan Power's course on this. Okay, cool. Now we're going to talk about licensing. You want to know about licensing? Here's my little 10-minute spiel about it. You want to do a deep dive into licensing? Here's Adam Taylor's course on licensing. Kind of like almost kind of like a manual / directory to go, okay, you're going to get in this. This is the stuff you need to know. And I'd rather teach you this now than learn from trial and error and mistakes the way I did. That's a big long-term thing. I'm still a one-man show. I do absolutely everything on my own. I don't outsource my editing. I video and record and script and edit all my YouTube videos, and still do my regular photography thing. So the plan, just keep growing the YouTube channel, keep getting better at, my own thing. And I don't know, man, 2 years from now, I might be doing something that I never had any idea I'd be doing. But when I was sitting down with, Mike Kelly's, I'm sitting across from a table from him. We're doing a course together. I'm like, You would have told me this 2 years ago I'd be doing this, I would have thought you were insane.
Did Mike stay at your house or did he get a hotel?
He got a hotel.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's too bad.
I kept using the word lure.
You could have had the Mike Kelly room. Like, you could have put a sign up like the Lincoln bedroom.
Yeah.
The White House.
Yeah. Mike Kelly tours. Tours get to come by stuff.
Yeah.
No, so I mean, it's just I am like I see like photographers like Adam. Adam loves to plan everything, and I'm the complete opposite. I'm just not a planner. Someone says, "What's your plan?" Like, I just don't have one. I just do things. I just go, and just kind of go with the flow and have fun while doing it.
That's fun. Do you think there's a chance you won't even be doing photography in a few years?
I doubt it because I've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
I really, really love it. I still have the passion for the art.
Yeah.
So I have not fallen out of love with the the core job yet.
Yeah.
I have in other lines of work. This is the longest I've ever done anything. Again, like I said, any other job, the longest I ever did was like 2.5 years.
It's funny. That was the other thing I noticed a parallel with. Like, I've held over 30 jobs in my entire life because like some of them were part-time, obviously.
Yeah.
But like none of them lasted more than 2 years.
Yeah.
2.5 at the most. But yeah, that's another parallel.
Yeah, I'm getting close to 10, pretty close to 10 full-time. I mean, including the 3 or 4 years I did a part-time. I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a really, really long time. But yeah, I still have fun. That's the thing. I have a buddy of mine who works in IT, and he makes a really good living. I mean, really, really good living. But he wishes he didn't. He wishes he wasn't in it. You can always tell he wishes he was doing his own thing. And one day he asked me hypothetically, he goes, if you ever got offered a 9-to-5 job, how much would it take for you to drop what you're doing and go work for another company? You're at a desk 9 to 5. He's like, it's like $300,000 a year. I go, oh, no ways. $500,000? I said, no. And the number just kept going up. And even, we're talking pie in the sky, $5 million a year. I don't know, man. I
don't know. You do it for a year and then you just go back to
No. I'm talking about dropping.
No, I'm saying you drop it. Go do that for a year, get $5 million, and then go back to.
See, I think that would be mental torture for me. That whole year, I'd be working.
I would do it because this is exactly how I got into photography in the first place. I would go to my job, but like half of my job, I was just working on my business.
Yeah, that's true. And I do see that you could have that 9 to 5 and on the side, like still be.
I'd be like, yeah, sure, of course I'll do that. Give me $5 million.
Yeah. But I mean, the flip side of it, the freedoms and just it's the small things. I mean, no one cares about this, but it's like, honestly, the convenience if my daughter is sick one day from, hey, she's sick. My wife can call me or, hey, the school called. Can you go pick her up? I've got way more flexibility to do that than I did if I was stuck at a 9 to 5. I mean, just little things like that.
Yeah.
Just it all starts to add up after a while. I mean, my eventual answer was like, I don't know, man. I'm having a blast. I don't think I would give it up.
Yeah.
The value of what we do, I don't think can always be summed up in a monetary value to us. I mean, I would hope, like you, myself, there's a certain pricelessness to it. Because it's fun. Think about it. It's like actors. They get paid to goof around and pretend to be other people. We get to create pictures. We get paid to do it. I think that's the coolest thing. We are doing something creative that we can make a living on. I think it's awesome and it's fun.
Well, speaking of pretending to be other people, I do think that maybe if you do that course, like, well, this isn't really pretending to be other people. I was going back to my idea about like creating a fake video, like fake course. About like I think that'd be a fun thing to team up on. So
I would love to.
We could like maybe just. I just always thought it would be cool to do like like I like making courses, but not for myself, for other people.
Yeah.
Like I love helping people get their voice out there, but I always thought it'd be funny to like just make a course that was it was like written out to be kind of like, I'm not that funny, but but it was meant to be just entertaining. Like, yes, you get something out of it, but just like a couple hour long course that's basically just funny to watch.
Maybe I could take that with my idea, because I just started, and the video is not like doing very well compared to other ones that I posted, but like I did this 1950s instructional character.
I think I saw a preview of that
Okay.
on your stories.
Yeah,
I
on my
haven't watched the
stories.
video yet.
So it's all like terrible tips and advice for professionals. And I'm like, I kind of had fun pretending to be this goofball. Like, maybe I could do this more with videos.
Could you just imagine like a whole course on like what you're doing, but it's like it's just funny
Yeah.
and it's just
I'd
entertaining.
totally be up for that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's an entertainment value to that you have to put onto it too.
I think that's what's good about your videos though. It's like, not to like blow smoke or anything, but you know, it's kind of refreshing. Like my videos are not planned. They're messy. They're sloppy. They're lazy. But
That's how I would describe.
But yeah, it's how most people describe. But it's like I do those because I just want to get the information out there. Take it or leave it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Adam's videos are very short, to the point, but very like packed with information in a very short, condensed amount of time. And there's other people that put videos out there that, you know, they have their own thing, but I think yours, you've got a good entertainment factor to them. I think what you see is what you get. Like the minute I met you this evening, like we were joking immediately. Like it was just like I kind of knew exactly what to expect.
I've tried to be like a slightly different persona on videos, and I just can't do it.
Like
so.
what? Like what's your
like way more serious.
Is it so? It's like an alter ego? Like,
no, not an alter ego. Like, oh, I got the camera and I got to pretend to be, I got to be super serious, and I'm poking fun. That's the thing, man. It's just like I have to poke fun of myself because I am an idiot. I'm like, and if I do it to myself, I'm knocking the wind out of all the other trolls' sails,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot easier. It's people can sniff out authentic or inauthentic people anyway on YouTube.
I think it's important to be yourself. I think, depending on the mood you're in or like the information you're trying to share or who you're talking to, your vibe is going to change. Like people are going to notice watching this video compared to the other ones before this. This is the lightest one.
That's the liquor talk.
It's not. Well, I didn't drink anything. You did.
I just had a beer. I had one IPA. That's
lightweight.
It's all worn off at this point.
But my point is, it's like, the tone you carry into a conversation is gonna I don't know. It's gonna change everything. But what I was getting at is like, I think your YouTube videos, I think you do a good job. The reason they're doing as well as they are is because you're not just putting a new one out every single week for the sake of putting one out. You're clearly thinking about what topic do I want to cover? How do I cover this? You're putting thought into it. You're trying to make it entertaining, but also informational.
Yeah.
You're trying.
Not always succeeding.
You're doing your best.
Eat for everybody.
Yeah. No, but it's like it's that alone is refreshing. So it's like it's not like you're clearly not getting rich off of making YouTube videos.
Oh goodness, no.
It's the juice isn't worth a squeeze monetarily. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, that was just my long-winded way of complimenting you on your YouTube channel.
No, I appreciate it. And it's always a risk starting anything like that. You're like, is this going to be stupid? The last video I did where that's the first time I'm like kind of playing a goofy character. I was really nervous about doing that. And I'm still kind of nervous because I'm like, I know my clients see that video and my core clients think it's hilarious. Yeah. But I'm like, am I putting other people off by that? And I guess the answer to that is, if they're put off by that, I probably didn't want to order.
Right. That's a good thing. It's a good filter.
Yeah, it really is. So, no, I do, despite probably common belief, I do try to put thought into my videos. Like case in point, I've got one that I want to put together, just simply like the best lens.
That really is your iPhone case. You weren't.
No, that is my case.
I thought that was just you being...
No, this is my iPhone case.
Hold on. Let's just make sure everybody's saving it. I'm just going to get closer.
That really is my case.
Nice floral case.
I am authentic. This is me. I'm not pretending.
Oh, that's very pretty.
I love that. Again, there was another instance where I was poking fun of myself where I was going through old photos. I can't remember. Oh, yeah. I think it's that same builder reached out to me and said, hey, we're going to start doing some ads. Can you go through some old photos and things in your opinion as an artist? And he's making fun of me. And he says that you might crop and do different that might fit like a full page ad real well. It's like, okay, cool. So I'm going through old photos and I look at this old photo that I delivered months ago and there's my stupid phone case on the bathroom counter. And I'm like, this makes me look like an idiot. I have to post this. So I put it on there. The next day, I'm on a shoot, and I'm with this remodeling client, and the remodeling client is struggling to like how to stage this kitchen or whatever. And I go, I've got an idea.
I've got the perfect
Pretend that you're frustrated and you can't figure out what the staging was, and say, hand me your phone, and put it on the counter. And I'm like, let's dig this joke in even more, making fun of myself. And I got pretty good feedback on it. But yes, the next post was, yes, people, this really is my phone case.
That's funny. Well, dude, thanks for coming on and doing this.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks for flying all the way out to New York to do this.
Just for this. Yeah.
You can leave now.
Wait, this is my hotel room.
That's true. Yeah. I guess.
No, but you're more than welcome to share this bed with me.
No. Well, just for the record, we thought this room was going to be bigger.
Yeah.
We thought my room was going to be bigger as well, but it's not. So we're talking about just sitting on the bed and just like not laying down next to each other.
That probably would have led to so many inappropriate jokes.
Right. But it would have been kind of funny, like like just I'll take this side, you take that side, and we just sit there with the mics and.
Despite the obvious jokes,
right,
as it would have gone on, we probably just would have got more and more tired.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
let's wrap this.
What do you like think about like photos and stuff?
Yeah. Well, it's been fun. It's good getting to chat with you in person.
Yeah, same here. I love finally meeting.
Yeah.
Not to call you characters, but like characters and figures that you see. Yeah, figures that you see in the community. And you know, like the first time I saw Adam, that was cool.
Yeah.
You know, just like it's a guy I'd seen on videos.
Am I the how many people have you met outside of Kansas City? Like Mike, Adam.
Well,
I guess you did their workshop.
Wayne,
Scott Hargis, and whoever else was at the workshop. But
there really wasn't anyone else
in the last couple of years since you've been doing your thing.
I mean, most well known would be you three guys. Other than the photographers in Kansas City, just you, Mike, and Adam. So, and then what tomorrow I'll probably meet Brian.
Yep,
which would be cool. I just
man, I love meeting people in our community. Like I love it. I don't know.
We're all really different too.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing is there's really not a one cloth.
Well, most of us are saying the same. You're a little different.
I am normal.
you're a little different now. Okay.
This will probably be your last episode.
It probably will. I should make this the last one. Like, go out with a bang.
Yeah, for real. It's like, why did Jordan stop? Watch his last one. You'll get it.
I haven't been this giggling in a while, so it's fun.
I apologize.
No, I'm glad.
No, I think
we're being authentic.
Yeah. No, I think meeting people it's cool because, like you said, we don't get that opportunity much just because of that line of work. But I mean, workshops, meeting people who they might feel small time, but who knows? They could become some leader figure in architecture photography not long after now. I just think it's cool. Network within your own community. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Let's wrap this thing up.
Sounds good.
I have to get back to my hotel and go to sleep. All right, man.